it's Dana. Welcome back. Today we're going to be playing with this pretty stamp set from Hero Arts. This is called the Layering Holly, and we're going to use some Neenah Solar White paper in two different colors from Hero Arts as well. This is Fresh Lawn and Pine. So to go ahead and get started, I'm going to use the Fresh Lawn ink and stamp that up just on the outline of the holly. So with this ink, it will start off a little bit splotchy, but then as it dries back into the paper, it really evens itself out. So I'm going to be making just a really pretty background on this paper here, and I'm not using any specific order or way to stamp this out. I just want to get down my first layer of this stamp. Now, once that's all done, I'm going to come back in with the inner layer of this holly, and I'm going to use the pine for this top layer. So I'm just going to dab that onto my ink pad, and then I'm just going to line that up with the outer piece of that, and look how gorgeous that little holly is. Now you don't have to be totally perfect with this layering stamp set, and that's what I love about this. You can actually be a tad bit off and it still looks so pretty. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish stamping these off. And what's also great about this stamp set, if you wanted to use each one individually, you could, and you could still create such a beautiful background. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in the rest of my hollies and then move on to the next part. Now with this stamp set, you're also going to get some little berries. So I'm going to start off laying down again my first layer, and this color here is Pale Tomato. It's like a really warm, almost like a pinky red color, and I'm just going to add in just a few clusters of my berries. I really love this color combinations of these greens and reds together because it really does remind me of Christmas. So I'm just going to fill in some of the white areas with 3 berries and some sections with 2 berries just to make a really pretty background. Now since my first layer is done, I'm going to come in with that second layer. Now for my next color, I'm using Red Royal, which is a really nice deep color. Now you can see just adding that on top of the berry, you get just that little bit of the highlight from the Pale Tomato underneath, and it makes your berries look really realistic. So I'm just going to go around the card once again, stamping right on top of those lighter colored berries, and look how gorgeous this background looks. It looks so much like a very pretty Christmas card. Now since all of that is done, now I'm going to go ahead and bring in my MISTI, and I want to stamp a sentiment, but I don't want to use the entire Merry Christmas for this. I just want to use the Christmas part. So I have that lined up exactly where I want it, and I'm going to go ahead and close down my MISTI lid. Now, in order to just use just the Christmas part instead of the whole sentiment, I'm going to grab me some Post-it tape, and I'm going to block off the Mary so I don't get any ink on that. Now the ink I'm going to use today is the VersaFine Black Onyx ink. This is my favorite ink to use. I'm just going to dab that on there, and then I can remove the Post-it note out of the way and then go ahead and stamp down my sentiment. So this is a great way not to have to cut your sentiments in half. You can just stamp one section of it and not have to worry. So I love how that looks, but now I'm going to bring in a Joy die, because you know my last name's Joy, so I have to use that at least in one of my Christmas cards. So I'm going to put that right on top of the Christmas, and then I'm also going to grab back in a couple more pieces of the Post-it note and hold that Joy in place, and then put the Post-it note down, and I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. Now once I gently pull this back, I'm going to have the word joy popped out into the middle of my card. You guys have seen me do this several times before. I love popping up a sentiment in a really great background. So this is another example of that, just for one of my Christmas cards this year. So I'm going to grab my handy dandy APG gun, and I'm going to make sure that I put a good amount of adhesive on the back of this card panel. So I'm just going to try to get in those tiny little areas. It's okay if I don't get it perfectly on there, but just try to get the most that I can out of that adhesive. All right, so my card base is Neenah Solar White, 110 pound, and I'm gonna line that up so I have a nice little white border all the way around. So now since that's done, all I have to do is to fill back in those pieces that are missing. Now, of course, I can't just do it this way. I have to pop them up. So I went ahead and stamped out the joy one more time, and I did it in green fun foam. So now when I pop back in my joy, it's going to be raised up just a little bit. Now I'm going to use some glue. This is 1 point glue or on point glue, and I'm going to glue that down on top of each one of the green fun foam. Now I could use adhesive on this, but I want to give myself just a little bit of wiggle room to line these up perfectly. And I wanted to use green instead of using white, just to give me a little bit of color variation behind the sentiment this time. So I'm just going to go ahead and get all of those put together, and then we can get the rest of our card done. Now I'm just going to add back in all of the pieces, and it kind of fits together like a puzzle. So now I can grab back in the Y and place that right back in its slot. And I'm using the same adhesive, the same glue rather, to put each piece back in place. But what I love about this is it gives it a little bit of dimension in the card, and it just really makes the sentiment stand out. All right, now since everything's in place, I pop back in the circle for the center of the O. Don't forget to do that if you do that as well. And now I have a beautiful Christmas joy card. Look how gorgeous that is. All right, you guys, that is day 5 of the holiday card series. Here is the card, totally done. Look how gorgeous that looks. All right, everybody, I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.